Internet court is now in session. Today's case begins with a line that wasn't supposed to be crossed, not shouted, not written down, just quietly understood. And when that line was crossed, the response felt justified to some, necessary to others, and completely unforgivable to a few. The question before the court is simple but uncomfortable. When someone violates a boundary, how far is too far to respond? Jurors, this case involves a relationship that looked stable from the outside. Two people, shared routines, shared trust, until one moment changed the rules. And now it's not just the boundary on trial, it's the response. The relationship had lasted just under 3 years, long enough to settle into habits, short enough that nothing felt legally tied down. They didn't live together, but they might as well have. Weeknights blurred into each other. One toothbrush stayed permanently at the other's place. Groceries were bought for us, not for me. Friends described them as low drama, reliable, quietly solid. The boundary at the center of this case wasn't dramatic. It was simple. Privacy around devices. Early on, both agreed their phones were off limits, not because of secrets, but because of principle. Past relationships had taught both of them the same lesson. Once phone checking starts, trust doesn't recover, so the rules stayed unspoken but respected, until small moments began piling up. He would glance when notifications buzzed, not obvious, just a flicker of attention. She noticed, but didn't comment. Later, he'd ask casual questions. "Who was that texting you so late? Why does your phone always stay face down?" She laughed it off at first, joked that he was being paranoid, but the questions didn't stop. They just softened. Friends noticed changes before either of them admitted it. She'd excuse herself to take calls in another room, not suspiciously, just intentionally. He started checking his phone more aggressively when she was nearby, almost defensively. Nothing exploded. Yet. The first unresolved micro-event came during a weekend visit. Her phone buzzed while she was in the shower. He saw the name flash briefly, a name he didn't recognize. He didn't pick up the phone, didn't touch it. But when she came back, he asked, "Who's Alex?" She paused, just long enough to be noticeable. "Coworker." That should have ended it. But later that night, when she fell asleep first, the phone buzzed again. He didn't unlock it, didn't scroll. He just stared at the screen lighting up in the dark, unread, unanswered, unresolved. Second micro-event. A week later, she borrowed his laptop to stream a movie. Her phone stayed in her bag. Halfway through the film, she reached for it, stopped, checked herself, then smiled and said nothing. He noticed that too. Third micro-event. Conflicting advice arrived from friends. One friend told him he was overthinking everything, that everyone deserves privacy. Another told him that secrecy always starts small, and ignoring instincts was how people got hurt. He said nothing to her. Instead, resentment settled in quietly, not explosive, persistent. Every time her phone buzzed, his chest tightened. Every time she tilted the screen away, his mind filled in blanks. The boundary still technically stood, but emotionally, it was already cracking. First emotional turning point. The line is crossed. The moment came on a weekday evening, ordinary, boring. She left her phone on the kitchen counter while stepping outside to take a call. Her watch buzzed instead. The phone lit up. A message preview appeared. It wasn't explicit, but it wasn't neutral either. Something casual, something familiar. And for the first time in 3 years, he unlocked the phone. The boundary shattered in silence. No alarms, no confrontation. Just scrolling. Message threads stretched back weeks. Inside jokes. Late-night conversations. Nothing overtly romantic, but undeniably intimate. His chest tightened with every swipe. When she came back inside, he was sitting at the table, phone face down, waiting. When this story first hit Reddit, the comments split immediately. One user wrote, "Once you unlock the phone, you've already crossed the same line you're mad about." Another argued, "Privacy doesn't protect emotional cheating, it enables it." A third took a quieter stance. "I understand why he looked, but understanding doesn't mean approving." The court of public opinion was already divided, and the case had barely begun. He didn't accuse her. Not right away. Instead, he asked measured questions, open-ended ones. "How close are you with Alex?" "Do you talk often?" she answered calmly, too calmly. When he mentioned reading the messages, her expression changed. Shock first, then anger. She called it a betrayal, a violation, unforgivable. He agreed he crossed a line, but he didn't apologize immediately. Instead, he did something that stunned her. He packed a bag. Not permanently, not dramatically, just enough for a few days. And before leaving, he said one sentence. "I needed to see the truth, and now I need space from both of us." No yelling, no tears, just absence. That response became the new issue. Reddit reacted harder the second time. One comment read, "Leaving without resolving it is emotional punishment." Another countered, "Taking space is healthier than screaming." A third hesitated, "Both people broke trust. I'm not sure either handled it well." The debate shifted, not about the messages, but about the response. Intent versus impact. Jurors, this is where the case gets complicated. His intent was self-protection, space to process betrayal. Her experience was abandonment, punishment without dialogue. Legally, there was no contract, no obligation to stay. Emotionally, expectations existed. Was taking space proportional? Or was it a power move? Did the initial boundary violation justify emotional withdrawal? HR policies talk about proportional responses. Consent frameworks emphasize reaction impact over intent. This wasn't illegal, but was it fair? Consider the alternatives. What if he had confronted her immediately? Would honesty have softened the fallout or escalated it faster? What if she had acknowledged the emotional intimacy first? Would trust have been repairable? What if roles were reversed? If she read his phone and left? And what if no response happened at all? If he swallowed the discomfort and stayed silent? Each scenario leads somewhere different. None guarantee safety. They reconnected weeks later. Not to reconcile, to understand. Trust wasn't restored, but clarity was. They didn't resume the relationship. They didn't vilify each other either. Both carried scars. Both learned something costly. So, jurors, the boundary was crossed. That's clear. But was the response measured or excessive? Did he protect himself or punish her? Where does self-respect end and retaliation begin? The court gives no verdict. That's your role. Internet court is adjourned, and the comments are now open. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. It's always appreciated.